Jimmy and I are wondering, is there anything at all positive we can take away from this loss?
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. We'll talk about Game Time here in just a little bit. I want to thank you everydayers for being here every day. Thank you newbies for being here today. And thanks everybody for making us your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Jimmy, we are going to try to extract a positive, and that's the best way to say it, because you got to go in there and find it. you've got to really get in the trash and find something. Yeah, you got to dig for this. But first of all, I was thinking last night about, okay, when you have a problem, like if you're dating somebody and somebody says, hey, I need you to fix your hair. I can't date somebody with a mohawk. Then you go, okay, well, and you go get your hair fixed, and all of a sudden, then you're back to being on good terms with your lady. But if she says, hey, I can't date you anymore, and you're like, what's the problem? She goes, well, you're morbidly obese, you got horrible acne, and you have a goiter that is monstrous on your neck. And you go, oh, well, I can't fix those immediately. That's going to take me like a year and a half. And she's like, yeah, I know. I mean, it's going to be a problem. And so we just can't do this anymore. I don't think Alabama just needs a quick trip to Great Clips. I think we've got a fundamental, terrible, foundational problem.
Goiter, like day one, that couldn't have come as a surprise later.
I think it just came up.
Oh, it just popped up. Okay.
Maybe. Is that how goiter? I don't know if that's how goiters do. Do they just?
I only know goiters from Seinfeld, frankly.
I swear to God, I was thinking. I had to look up
goiter knowledge.
I sort of planned that part of the joke, not all of it, because I don't plan much. And I had to look up Google images for a goiter. I was like, man, that looks horrible. I see what Elaine was talking about.
Yeah, that could be a relationship killer. Could be.
Okay, but listen, we're not in on Locked On Bama to talk badly about players. We don't want to do that. But this was so obvious, and other people have done it so clearly. They have shown us video evidence. Emmanuel Acho came out with a video, and he was madder than Bama fans about this video. And I think because he's a football player who did try hard, you might disagree with his opinions. But if you're a football player that did bust his butt, and you see somebody not busting their butt, it probably does tick you off, because you understand what a privilege it is to get to play. Well, the video is of Bray Hubbard running at about 70%. I mean, I'm being kind with the 70%. It was as if this were a no contact drill, early practice thing to just go through the motions. And Emmanuel Acho lost his mind about the lack of effort from Bray Hubbard. The disturbing thing to me about that, Jimmy, is you and I on this podcast and other Bama fans, I promise you, they've all said this. They love them some Bray Hubbard, because they saw last year he did put forth a lot of effort. He played really hard when he was out there. Now, he wasn't out there quite as much, but he was played really well and hard when he was out there. He gave minimal effort on that particular play, and the problem is you can't unsee it. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're like, is that how you do all the time? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. I was, first of all, I know Emmanuel Acho's work well. I watch ESPN and College Football Live. He's on College Football Live a lot. He was so upset. It was like a completely different personality, like an Emmanuel Acho twin brother. I like, who is this guy? I've never seen him upset. He's always got a smile on his face. I couldn't imagine him being angry. You'd have thought he was reviewing the same clips of watching his team, Texas, play. He was that upset. I'm old school. I would use the bench myself to quote punish players for lack of energy, lack of effort. I don't expect that to happen, but that's what I would do. But I guess I'm just an old man who shakes his fist at the clouds and couldn't coach football in 2025. But I would bench players that clearly did not exhibit a complete, full, and total effort. You can't control the outcome. You can't control many things, but you can control the effort with which you play. And those clips that Acho showed, and it was more than Hubbard. But he wasn't just picking on Bray Hubbard. It was more than Hubbard. Every point he made, I thought was 100% accurate. I know Luke doesn't watch losses. I do. I feel like I get more from them than the wins. So I'm going to watch first half Tuesday and the second half Wednesday this week, and I'll report back and probably just will stay angry until Monroe kickoff.
Yeah.
But no, the video evidence that you're referring to, there is video evidence that shows a lack of effort on some defenders on some snaps. And it's outrageous, really. It's outrageous, to be honest. I mean, Manuel Acho is not an Alabama guy, and he's mad about it. That should show the extent of it.
And it does make me mad at Bray Hubbard, very mad. And I'm like, hey, I know we don't have to do as much, but it's a lot of effort for this 52-year-old man to get over to Tallahassee and spend a bunch of money to come watch our team play like butt when we've been talked trash to by a quarterback who was benched at Boston College.
Talking about our daddy, Thomas Castellanos?
Our complete listen.
Our daddy.
Hey,
how about that?
We have
how pathetic and sad is that? But it's true.
Thomas Castellanos is our daddy. And there will be, by the way, I said yesterday.
So much. I hate using the phrase. I hate it so much. I hate using the phrase. It's just completely on the nose here.
It's 100% true. Look, Tim Tebow wasn't our daddy as much as Thomas Castellanos is.
No, we beat that dude once.
Yeah, we beat him, and he beat us by double digits in one of the SEC title games. But he never said, "I'm going to beat y'all by double digits." And by the way, we had the lead in that game in the fourth quarter.
No,
but anyway,
about it. We made him cry. We made Tebow cry. We made Castellanos mayor of Tallahassee.
We made him the human equivalent of Ruggiette Reddy. That's what he is. He's just walking around, just completely Ruggietted, and he's like, hey, "Who's next?" I mean, it's pretty awesome. I bet you he had a pretty good weekend. By the way, Florida State fans, some of y'all are probably listening, hate watching or laugh watching, and I'm down with it. I get it. I would do it too if my team was coming off 2-10, and then we beat the heck out of the number 8 team in the country. I promise you. I'm not mad at you.
They erased 2024.
Immediately, 100%. Now, I said something yesterday, and I said it in the middle of a rant, and I want to clarify it really quickly because some people have gotten on to me. I said Florida State is not good. I should have said they're not that good, meaning they're not that good to have beaten us that thoroughly. And don't get upset with that, because I would say the same thing about any team in the country. Nobody should beat us that thoroughly, given the talent we have on this squad. So that's what I want to clarify.
Certainly not that team, but I do want to say this, and I do mean this seriously. I do think it'll be interesting, obviously, to watch the rest of Florida State's season. If they are great, which shouldn't shock anyone. They were great 2 years ago. Florida State's been great throughout their history. If they're great and finish the season 10-2, 11-1 in the playoff, we are going to look at that game a little differently. Not a lot differently, but we will look at that game a little differently if Florida State proves to be a playoff team and you lose on the road to a playoff team. That's one of the reasons I never used Tennessee when I was upset about last year's losses.
True.
I'm upset about Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Michigan. I never got upset about the loss to Tennessee because it was a road loss to a team that was in the playoff. I mean, that's going to happen to you forever. That's not a crazy loss. I do think the Florida State loss could be viewed differently at the end of the year, but maybe it won't be. Maybe Florida State finishes 4-8. I mean, there's a lot of football left to be played. I don't think so. And I don't think they're going to be 10-2 or 11-1, but I also don't think they're going to be 4-8.
ESPN right now has a number 5 seed in the playoffs, but that's just based off the one game. It's not really projecting any further than that. And I'll say this:
tough. Miami was good last night. The ACC looks tough. Miami, Clemson, Georgia Tech is good. I think Louisville and SMU are good. And
Virginia Tech wasn't awful.
Virginia Tech wasn't awful. Watch for Duke this weekend hosting Illinois.
That's an interesting game.
Duke might be better than people think, and they got that hot shot quarterback.
Now, here's the thing about our father, our daddy, Thomas Castellanos. Again, I'm saying that so I want people to hear it. I think our daddy will eventually leave us to go say he's going to get cigarettes and not come back the same way he did Boston College in the middle of the year and the same way my father did. I'm just teasing. I love my father. He's a great man. But I do think eventually the Thomas Castellano stuff wears off and Florida State will come back down to earth to a degree. I do not project Florida State to be a playoff team. That's not an insult. I don't project us to be a playoff team. So I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying that makes the loss even worse. Now, one more video I want to get to before we get into this. Now, there's some breakdowns of Ty Simpson that are out there, and they show Ty was exactly what we thought he was. He is very – or what he was. You and I thought he was better than this. He was very mediocre. And it wasn't awful, and he wasn't the reason we lost, but he dang sure wasn't the reason we were going to come back and win either. So now, the other video is of Deontay Lawson getting blown up, knocked into a different galaxy. I guess either by an H-back or a fullback, I'm not sure. But he got blocked so hard that I could feel Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Quinnen Williams and Rolando McClain, like they were probably somewhere not even watching the football game. They were like, what was that? They just had a feeling, like a spider sense of, oh no, that can't happen. Because I can tell you, if somebody had gotten blown up like that for Alabama back in those days, I think somebody would have addressed it. Yeah. I think somebody would have said something about it.
Yeah, I saw a clip of Justin Jefferson getting blown up too. And I think it just goes back to what I said. I can describe this game very simply in about 4 words or 8 words. I'm not sure how you count up here, but out.
I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Out schemed, out coached, outplayed, out hit. I mean, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to say it. So let's try to again. It's going to be difficult. This is going to be like Indiana Jones and the Lost Positives. We need to go extract and find and probably, defeat the temple guy who rips people's hearts out. And then did he eat them? Did he eat the heart? I don't remember.
I think he may have eaten the heart. I think so.
Are we sure that wasn't Titanic? No, that was Indiana.
I don't remember the heart-eating scene in Titanic except the part where the girl didn't let Jack on the door when there's clearly enough room, as if she had like a life insurance policy on Jack, and watched him just fade away into the Atlantic where there's like a giant French door, like 3. She could have put Caden Proctor on that door.
Leo DiCaprio's 5'2" self. He's like, yeah, I guess I'll just freeze and sink to the bottom. All right, listen, college football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. At least I couldn't have been more excited. I could be more excited right this minute. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, there's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than a game itself. Endless queues and hidden fees, and I've put the wrong thing on here, so I'm going to switch it right there. I'm sorry. I'm not on my game either. Look, if Bray Hubbard wants to call me and tell me how terrible I am at this, I'm about to start over with Game Time. College football is back, and I couldn't be more excited. The tailgates, the rivalries, the energy in the stands, and there's just nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself. Endless queues, hidden fees, prices jumping at checkout, all that stuff. That's why I use Game Time, the app that gives the advantages back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best prices with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay for at Game Time. I pulled up Game Time in just a full couple of taps, and I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite college football games as low as $25, and I bet you Alabama, Monroe's even less than that. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCollege is all one word for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go, download Game Time today. Now I can go to the Game Cap. This is a new sponsor, and we appreciate them so much. And they're good people. Excluding, listen, if you need a cap, okay, this is where you want to go. Quick question for all you college football fans out there. If you could go back in time and sit in the front row at your school's biggest rivalry game, what hat would you be wearing? Yes, I said hat. For me, it would be the game. Those aren't just hats, man, over there at the game. They're the same vintage style fans wore back in the 80s and 90s. And guess what? They still go for the same price they did back then. When you use code Locked On, you get your hat for $16.99. Head to the gamecaps.com, thegamecaps.com, grab your team's classic bar or retro circle design and use code Locked On for an exclusive discount, because legends wear the game and they love the game cap.
Yeah, Manuel
Jimmy
is going to watch video of that live read. He's going to call upset.
I mean, I did the equivalent of 5 live reads and only got about 1.5 in there. I mean, I'm not on my look. This game has me shook. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I mean, if you are an Alabama fan with any passion, this has upset you to your core. And there's some Auburn fans that are just like, that meme of the black guy with the yellow suit standing behind a tree doing like this.
Yeah.
Like that's what Auburn fans are right now. They're just eating this up. And I don't blame them. We deserve all of it. You and I have said eventually what goes up comes down. And right now we're coming down and people are rejoicing. And I cannot, there's nothing I can do to combat it. All I can do is sit here and take my punches.
And we're going to talk about the positives. One positive here is I know Auburn's sky high. They were a quality win, and they look good. I thought
you said positives.
The best Auburn team I've seen in a while. And Alabama's down, but don't etch things in stone. And I do think that Alabama fans have properly reacted. I'm not saying it's an overreaction, but there are overreactions in some quarters, even by Alabama fans. There's 11 games left to play. There's good talent on this team. Don't etch your prediction of how the season's going to play out in stone. Not just yet.
I'm not etching it out in stone, Jimmy. What I'm saying, though, is there's not going to be change unless there is change. There's not going to be a change in my outlook for this season, which we'll get to in the third segment, unless there is change. We're going to have to make a change. If Bray Hubbard is not disciplined or punished in some way for that particular effort, the coaching staff didn't have to come out and say, hey, we're sitting Bray Hubbard for the first quarter due to lack of effort. You don't have to say that.
I think
we will notice he's not out there.
My guess is it will be addressed, but it won't be publicly or something that we even see next Saturday. But it will be to some extent.
We would like to know, we as Bama fans, not just Locked On Bama, I want all of us to know that somebody addressed that. Not that it's not okay. That's not okay.
There'll be we're recording this on Monday morning, so Cade Womack and Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer will meet with the local media today, and their comments will be interesting because they might be asked about those videos and that sort of stuff. So I would think their answers might be interesting. So that'll be sometime around noon on Monday. Kane Womack, Ryan Grubb, and Kalen DeBoer, their weekly Monday press conferences. That'll be interesting.
I'll say this, though. The problem with if you're not a hard ass in terms of discipline, you can't just become one. That's in you. Players will see through your crap.
It's part of the culture of the program, or it's not.
Okay, so let's give a positive or two.
Okay.
And I'm doing this on the fly. So I have not written a positive down. I'm trying to think of one. I was like, what is the positive? Because there's nothing on the offensive line. Nothing. They were terrible too.
I will say, I got one.
Parker Brailsford?
Well, no. Now I'm going by Pro Football Focus numbers because I've not watched the tape, but per Pro Football Focus, who would have thought going into the game that the cleanest performance would be Gino Vandermark? Who's replacing Jaden Roberts. And I'm not saying he played great, and I'm not saying, well, who thought he would be an all-SEC player? I'm just saying that of the 5 offensive linemen, you would have thought, well, Proctor will be great. Brailsford will be great. No, Gino Vandermark had quality numbers, more so than anyone else on the offensive line.
How was Brailsford?
Brailsford was a little worse, but not terrible.
Did you get any credit for his nice carry?
The terrible numbers were Proctor, and which is just so disappointing. I mean, do you know that Caden Proctor gave up more pressures than any left tackle in college football this week per Pro Football Focus?
And listen, throw me down.
That's per Pro Football Focus because I don't use those numbers as gospel myself. I think that they're interesting, and I'm always interested in those PFF numbers, but I do not believe them as a science, but it is interesting.
Throw me down and beat me with a bunch of socks filled with bars of soap, Full Metal Jacket style, because I would not have thought that. I thought Proctor was going to have a nice year. That was his. I didn't know. You see, in the stands, it's harder to tell how bad the offensive line is. You wonder, like, okay, well, how are they getting back there so much? You can just say, well, the line sucks, but that's not really. You don't get to see it. I've seen highlights of Proctor. Good Lord, he had a bad game. It's one of the worst games I've seen an offensive lineman have since the Shula years, and y'all know who I'm talking about.
Formby wasn't great either on the right side. He wasn't great. It wasn't as bad as Proctor, but Formby wasn't great. The interior of the offensive line put up better numbers than the outside tackles did. But
that's scary.
Gino Vandermark was a positive.
Well, okay, so that's a positive.
And now, Jade Roberts, by the way, for those questions, Jade Roberts did not play a single snap. The offensive line was one of the few units I complain all the time about playing too many players. We don't on the offensive line. We did not substitute at any point on the offensive line. All 5 offensive linemen played all 75 snaps in the game from tackle to tackle. There were no Jaden Roberts, no Michael Carroll, no substituting there. And the interior of the offensive line was okay. And Gino Vandermark played pretty good. So that's a positive. Jeremy Bernard was outstanding. And
Jeremy Bernard's a positive.
And now, I have something to say, and I mean it as a pep talk, if anything. If you go back to midway through last season and go all the way through the first game here, there's no question. Jeremy Bernard is our wide receiver 1. It's not Ryan. It's Jeremy. And all I'm going by is the numbers. Jeremy Bernard catches more balls for more yards and makes more plays than Ryan has over the last 7 or 8 games combined. So it's not like a 1-off or a 2-off. I'm talking about 7 or 8 games. Jeremy Bernard has been a more impactful player than Ryan. And Ryan had 3 drops Saturday, and he got concussed. He's going to have to go through protocol. Who knows if he'll play against Monroe or not, and hopefully wish Ryan the best as he's going through. That was a bad-looking concussion, too. It wasn't like one of those, oh, he got dinged up. No, that was a bad one. So who knows whether we'll see him against Monroe or not. And shout out to Germ, who's playing his way, I think, into a really good spot in the NFL draft. But Jeremy Bernard continues to play great. And I would even call Jeremy's performance on Saturday great. Pretty sad that there's like so many players on the field that we put on the field. We put about 60-something players on the field. Jeremy was great. I don't know that I would say that about anyone else.
No, I agree with that. I would say, first of all, let's not get off on a rant here. And this has nothing to do with the game. I'm just curious. Was it targeting on Ryan Williams when he got concussed? I thought you could have called it, but I don't care.
Well,
I'm just
on
curious.
The field. They showed replays numerous times. He was hit so bad you kept looking for it. It didn't appear to me there was a direct blow from a Florida State player. A Florida State player launched, but missed. Had he hit Ryan directly in the head, he would have been a goner because he launched. I felt he launched, but he didn't make a direct hit. I think Ryan hit his head on the ground.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
That's what I think.
I didn't. I just, some people said it was, and I was like, I don't know. And so I thought your
head bounces, it hit the ground and bounced, So I think it was that, but the hit was so bad. I still would like to see it from even more angles because it's kind of confusing. But no, there was no direct evidence of targeting, and that's why
one final positive we won't even get into because there's not enough evidence to really back it up. But I thought Kevin Riley showed far and away the most burst of anybody in the running back room, and I was positive. That's positive. He deserves more playing time.
He deserves more playing time, and I hated that. And hey, this is a F to Ryan Grubb on Saturday, in part because on the first series you rushed for 55 yards, and the first series was masterful. It was masterful. That first drive took 8 minutes. It was balanced. It was good. They only rushed for 25 yards the rest of the game, and a lot of it was over a lack of carries. I felt we abandoned the run game early. And once again, as I say all the time, play too many players or play the wrong guy. I mean, we played Richard Young, Daniel Hill, Kevin Riley, Trey Washington in that order. Trey only got a couple carries, but Richard Young started the game and got 9 carries. I mean, if he's your number one back, shouldn't he have 15? More than that? Should he have more than 9?
Yes.
And by the way, y'all want some more additional Justice Haynes at Michigan? Now, they weren't playing at Florida State. But Justice Haynes rushed for 150 yards.
Yeah, look, I didn't think that was going to be a big blow. I really didn't. I was wrong there too. I've been wrong about a lot of stuff here recently. All right, now I've got to tell you guys about Rougiette, and we appreciate Rougiette being a sponsor. They are some great folks, and it's a great product. And look here, how about this? Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiette Ready. Rougiette Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to amplify arousal in the brain and boost blood flow. Boy, I made that sound creepier than it should have been, huh? Unlike the usual pills that can take hours, Rougiette's 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue and kicks in fast on average in 15 minutes. Effects can last up to 36 hours, so you can stay confident and in control of it when the moment is right. If traditional options haven't worked, Rougiette might be the answer for you. Over 150,000 men have already made the switch. I love that it's completely online. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor and ships your treatment straight and discreetly to your door. Head to Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege. Use code LockedOnCollege. You get 50% off day. That's Rougiette.com/LockedOnCollege and use promo code LockedOnCollege for 15% off. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rougiette website for full safety information.
Yeah, the effect of that Alabama loss is going to last for like 360 hours.
Yeah, but the price was like the anti-Rougiette Ready. I mean, we took one of them softeners, not a stool softener, but the other, go to the other side. It was funny yesterday. I'm at the beach with some friends, and like somebody said, yeah, it is funny. Sometimes Luke has to read this thing for Rougiette Ready, and they were like, what is that? And he described it, and I think all the guys were like, yeah, the girls are gonna laugh at this. All of them were like, and I was like, I know it. All right, so God, I really share too much on this podcast. How does this change your outlook for the season, Jimmy? Because let me tell you what, I'm looking at the schedule. I look at games at Missouri. No, Missouri played a soup can, but they looked pretty good doing it. South Carolina, they weren't the juggernaut it looked like they were going to be after the first drive. Hey, where have I seen that before? But they have a defense that is going to eat our lunch. They were
surprisingly good on defense. I expected South Carolina to be pretty good on offense and questionable on defense. Defense was pretty good against Virginia Tech.
Let me see. Tennessee, again, I mean, they played Syracuse. Syracuse isn't great, but they look pretty good, and Aguilar looked pretty good doing it. We've talked about Auburn.
I think Tennessee could be a surprise playoff team. The schedule. They have the best schedule in this league, and Aguilar, good. He looked good. This is an experienced kid, too.
Okay, so Tennessee, and then, of course, you think about, okay, what do we have trouble with? Running quarterbacks. What's Auburn got? A running quarterback. And they got a better team. They got more talent than they've had in the West.
The Vanderbilt game is definitely a play here because we could not stop the Vanderbilt offense again on Saturday. And for Alabama to beat Vanderbilt, I mean, it's going to have to be 40-38. I have zero confidence we'll get stops in that game because I've not seen us get stops against that type of offense at all.
Ironically, and people may think I'm just talking out of my tuchus, but I feel if you're saying like give percentages on the games you think Alabama win, I would probably put higher percentages on Georgia and LSU than I would on Auburn at this point. And the reason is because, Gunnar Stockton used his legs a little bit more than I thought he was Saturday. I didn't get to see all that game, but our defense may be better against more traditional pocket passer guys. And the problem is, I don't know if our offense can do anything. So I'm not putting a high percentage on any of them. Jimmy, I'm looking at, I swear to God, you may think I'm nuts. I'm looking at like 5 or 6 losses here, and it scares me to death.
I don't disagree based on, I would agree with If Alabama plays exactly like they did in Tallahassee the entirety of this schedule, 6-6 is 100% on the table. 100% on the table if you play like that. See, I don't believe that's going to be the case. I don't believe that, not yet. I know I'm going to disappoint people because I saw on the thing about a season outlook from here. I don't think a season outlook is even a good idea. I think a Louisiana Monroe outlook needs to be the focus. They need to play well against Monroe, and they need to act like this is an SEC game with the season on the line, because you've got to improve and play better starting this week, or what Luke said is going to come true. So I don't have a season outlook so much as I have a Louisiana Monroe outlook. And Alabama is favored by 37.5. I think there needs to be a meet that and beyond. And by the way, Monroe has athletic quarterback. I'm going to watch some of their offense today. I don't think they run exactly like Florida State and Vandy type thing, but I think that's in their wheelhouse. One interesting thing, since Alabama's not stopping the run, Monroe's best player is from Mobile, Braylon McReynolds. And you know how some of those in-state guys are like, oh, I'm going to show Alabama they should have taken me. Now, they played a tomato can this past weekend in their win, but Braylon McReynolds rushed for 120 yards, had another 20 or 30 in pass receptions. He's their best player. So it'll be a little bit of a challenge at Monroe. Monroe is not, my understanding of where they are not vintage Louisiana Monroe, but this is a better than normal Monroe program right now. They're better than they normally are. So treat it like it's an SEC game and start getting better. Because otherwise the season outlook will be just as Luke laid out for you.
Let me say this too. I think you're spot on here, because as somebody who has dealt with anxiety and depression and all those things all my life, and I have no problem saying these things now because I think it is important to talk about it. First of all, if you have a podcast and you deal with those things, my advice to you is to never, ever look at the comments, ever, under any circumstance. People have said the most god-awful things about me.
About the goiter.
They said you're like a human goiter. But no, the other thing is, if you ever do feel overwhelmed, and one thing I've learned dealing with all this is what you do is you take a step back, you go, okay, deep breath. What one thing can I do? What one thing? And so while you and I, it's okay for you and I to come on a podcast and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. The season, this game's going to be bad. This game, it's fine for you and me to do it on podcasts, just talking stuff. But for the team, if they truly want to get better, it is truly La Monroe this week. We deal with them. And then who's ever next? We don't even look at the schedule. Don't have a schedule on your laptop. Don't look at the schedule.
That's
who's
right.
ever next is who's ever next. It's not going to change.
The one
It's
game
not going to
season.
change. Yeah.
It's a one-game season, and it's about improving. And the thing that will frustrate me is I did hear just one random person say, well, you beat Monroe, you beat Wisconsin, you beat Georgia. I'm like, the team that just lost Florida State's not going to beat Georgia. That team won't beat Georgia.
They may not beat Wisconsin.
That team may not beat Wisconsin. So the focus has to be making sure that performance, that team, that was a one-off. That was a one-off. And how do you do that? You start the next week and you just kind of start over, and let's see what happens from there. I don't know what will happen. No one knows what will happen. I know everybody out there, this is a 4-8 team. If you're 100,000,000,000% convinced that that's truth, then go to Biloxi, go to Vegas, make yourself extremely wealthy if you know exactly what's going to happen. See, the thing is, I don't know what's going to happen. Therefore, I'm not doing those. I'm not going to the sports book in Biloxi. I don't know what's going to happen, but we'll see starting this weekend.
I don't know what's going to happen, and I still go to the sports book like a fool. But I'll tell you this: as by the way, when I'm at the casino, the first thing I say when I get to a blackjack table is, I put a pretty nice sized bet out there first, and they're like, "Wow, you're opening up strong." I'm like, well, you can't win them all unless you win the first one. So that's the way Alabama should be. We can't win the rest of them unless we beat La Monroe. Forget who's ever next. I hope the players don't even know the sequence of things. I want them to know when the off week is.
And build some level of confidence. You're not going to become, you shouldn't become the most confident person in the world because you beat Louisiana Monroe by 4 or 5 touchdowns. But it will help. It will help to play better.
God. Does make you miss Nick Saban, doesn't it?
Well,
I know.
we all
knew.
I mean, only pie in the sky folks felt like, oh, things would be the same. I mean, we used to be coached by a cyborg. Now we're coached by a human being.
Yep.
And human beings aren't perfect. Only cyborgs are. And he doesn't coach here anymore.
That's right. All right, that's going to do it for today's pod. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll Tide.